Hey guys, welcome back to A Sharper Life. I'm your host, Nikki Sharp, a two-time best-selling author, wellness expert, and your personal transformation coach. So today I wanted to talk about New Year's resolutions and honestly, why they fail us so quickly. Now, if you think back to past years, you may have been excited or motivated and thinking, this is going to be the year. This is going to be the year that I do the thing, I stop the thing, I start the whatever, I make a change. And yet, these statistics are kind of shocking. New Year's resolutions actually make us feel worse about ourselves. And the reason is that 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by February. We are in mid-January as I record this. That means that 80% of you who have set New Year's resolutions by the end of this month are already going to be feeling bad about yourself. What a way to set ourselves up for the new year. Now, 23% of people quit their resolution within the first week and 64% by the end of the first month. So think about that. 23% within the first week. Then you have 64 by the end of the month. And then by the time February hits, boom, 80% of them have failed. Now, to go even deeper, only 8 to 9% of people actually achieve their resolutions by the end of the year. And here's something super interesting to know. The second Friday in January is actually known as Quitter's Day. So you are not alone. If you are feeling this kind of up and down, lack of motivation, you want to start afresh, it's been an interesting year, but let's go 2026, you want changes, and yet the stats don't lie. We set ourselves up for failure. So this episode, I wanted to discuss and talk about, one, because personally, I'm like, this year, nope, no resolutions. And if you haven't listened to my episode where I said, it's called If 2025 Broke You, this episode is for you. I talk about year of the snake, year of the horse, what it all means, because really January 1st is the worst time to be starting afresh. And we are in the dead set of winter where the days are short, it's dark, it's gloomy, it's cold if you live in the northern hemisphere. And I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, putting gloves, hat on, scarf, bundling up to go for a run outside does not sound very exciting. So we are actually supposed to be in hibernation. The winter days are meant as rest, recover, and pushing us gently into spring renewal. That is why, as I talked about or mentioned the 2025 episode, If It Broke You, because the Chinese New Year doesn't start until, I believe it's February 16th, and we are still in Year of the Snake according to the Chinese zodiac. And yet we all have this notion that come January 1st, boom, that's it, let's go. The majority of people, though, are tired, hungover, exhausted, went out, ate too much, and then come January 1st, you are already starting to feel bad about yourself. So what happens? Silently, within our own minds, we start to feel like we've failed. The gym feels harder, your routines feel forced, and by mid-January, that new year, new me energy has pretty much disappeared. And instead of questioning why do we keep doing the same thing over and over, we turn inward and assume something is wrong. So in this episode, I'm going to be explaining why your New Year's resolutions fail so fast. And essentially, this is the episode to give you permission that you don't need to have it all figured out. This is the episode where I want you to give yourself allowance, permission and allowance that January is currently set up and designed to make us fail when we start New Year's resolutions and goals. So let's jump straight into it. Reason number one that you are failing your resolutions before you've even finished the month is that you're expecting motivation to happen before you've recovered from December. Now, let's get into that, because the truth is December is a period of higher joy and zest, and we're going out and we're seeing people, but we're also pushing ourselves to the brink. We're ending Q4, getting ready for Q1. I mean, think about your own life where it's like if you have kids, it was, oh my God, I got to get all the things done before we go off for holidays, or, the vacation, the time off. If you were taking time off work, and this year, Christmas and New Year's fell both on Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, fell on a Wednesday. So some people had to work throughout. Like, it was a really weird period. But what happens is we literally ramp up for the holidays, where we go out, we push ourselves, we stay out later, stay up, we drink more, eat more. And here's the science behind this. You haven't recovered from December, and yet you're expecting motivation to hit and drop just like that. Now, it does. In week one, or maybe you took the first week off and you're coming back, yes, it does hit, but then it wanes very quickly. That's why the second Friday in January is called Quitter's Day. So the science is that after periods of disrupted sleep and alcohol and stress and routine changes, the brain prioritizes energy conservation. So, and this is something I've been going through and really slowing down, because the prefrontal cortex. So if you think about your brain, you have the amygdala, which is the fear-based center. It's like a little almond shape. I've talked about it on the podcast. The amygdala gets activated and basically takes over your prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for planning and self-control. And it works less efficiently when it is fatigued. Now, here's the kind of catch-22. The more tired that you are, the more the amygdala, the little fear-based center, and actually, here's a good way to put it. Your prefrontal cortex is like the driver of a car. So you're on the highway and you have a little toddler or baby in the back strapped in. And so you're driving along and you're looking around and you see there's traffic. You need to move in and out and weave. So that's what your prefrontal cortex is doing all day, every day. It's making decisions. It's keeping you kind of engaged within the world. But if you are tired, if you're overwhelmed, if your amygdala, which is this little toddler in the back, starts to go off and say, alert, alert, alert. Like, think about when you're driving and there's the backseat driver and they're like, hey, wait, turn left, go right. Someone's going to hit you. Right? You as the driver, you start to go on edge. So your amygdala basically hijacks your brain because it's looking out for all of this perceived danger. And the prefrontal cortex, i.e. the driver of the car, says, all right, that's it. I'm done. You take over. So now you have a screaming toddler or a backseat driver who's just taken over and is like going crazy. So that's what happens to us basically throughout the holidays. And I want you to think about how often your nervous system went into that little like alert or you're like, I don't know if I can sleep. Or when you get home at night, you weren't able to, like you were wired but tired and you would try to sleep, but maybe you couldn't, or you were sleeping in and still feeling fatigued. That's because when the amygdala takes over, which it does pretty much for all of us during the holiday season, your prefrontal cortex, which is, it likes routine. It likes regularity. It likes kind of the simple, quiet, calm. And that's not to say the holidays aren't great, but what happens is that come January, your prefrontal cortex is like, all right, let's go. We're going to jump back into it and motivation and let's go. But your amygdala or the backseat driver hasn't actually recovered. The only way that your amygdala calms down is when we calm the nervous system down. And so even one night of poor sleep reduces your prefrontal cortex's ability to make rational decisions. This is why January becomes so hard. And it's like, wait, but I know that I should not be drinking, or I should not be craving chocolate, or I said I was giving up soda or diet soda. Well, it's not possible if your body is not in a calm, cool, collected place, and that means regulating your nervous system. So let's just be honest and think about it for yourself. Have you been putting pressure to have more motivation, even though you haven't quite recovered from all of the intensity of the holidays? And a question that I like to ask is, could it be true? If the answer is yes, then that's just something to recognize a pattern in yourself, and that is setting you up for failure, not success. Now, here's a kind of an additional one that I was thinking about of why this January feels especially hard in comparison to other years. And it's something that we really do need to acknowledge, because this January is not like other Januaries. Economically, people are under more pressure right now. The cost of living is higher, savings are thinner, and financial safety feels less certain right now. So you add on to that political tensions, global instability, constant bad news cycle. And not just that, but when you go on, so just as I was talking about the amygdala getting activated, when we look at our phone and it goes from seeing like, oh my God, that was a like really funny video, haha. And then you tap the next story or you see the next thing and it's, oh my God, the president of Venezuela has been kidnapped. And then the next story is from the Golden Globes and right, whatever happened. Your brain doesn't know how to come into a place of safety. So it's not just that we're in this constant bad news cycle, which is consistently activating the amygdala, right? Because if there's bad news or, I don't know, the economy is going down, your brain is going to say this is not safe. So people are carrying a level of background stress that we have not had to in a while. The last time that we had this level of it was during the pandemic and lockdown. So I want you to really think about this with political instability, economic scarcity and fatigue, and people are on edge. When money feels uncertain and the world feels unpredictable, your brain stays in threat mode. So that means the backseat driver, the amygdala, is constantly flagging. This, and just on a neuroscience level, what happens when your amygdala is activated is it releases stress hormones. This is cortisol. This is adrenaline. So adrenaline is a thing that pushes us, right? We want adrenaline in small doses. It's what pushes us and motivates us and gets our ass to the gym and go outside and just do the thing. But when we have too much adrenaline or too much cortisol, that's where you get under eye bags or you start getting sluggish digestion. That's where, like, when clients come to me and they can't lose weight, for women and men too, around your middle section or your kind of upper thighs, or you have the donut belly, that's excess cortisol. And that means that your brain has been in activated amygdala mode for too long. So there's too much cortisol, too much adrenaline. This is what's happening to us consistently, more so now, January 2026 than before. And so when January normally piles on self-improvement pressure, New Year's resolutions, this is the year that I'm going to be better, I'm going to do better. You add on financial stress, global uncertainty, and it is not motivating, it's overwhelming. So again, on a science level, what happens when your brain feels instability and a lack of safety? It reaches for the things that feel good. It reaches for things without you even thinking about it because your prefrontal cortex is turned off. The chauffeur, the driver, it's offline. So this looks like in January, if you look at your bank account and you're like, oh shit, I spent a lot of money, or I don't feel good, right, about the weather or the political instability, your brain is going to reach for the thing that naturally soothes it. So for some of you, that's the chocolate. Others, it might just be the food in general. I know for me, it's the red wine. I absolutely go to red wine when I need that nourishment, that kind of safety feeling. And also, what happens when we're eating things or doing certain things where you're so high levels of dopamine, when you're not feeling good, your brain reaches for dopamine. And with all of this political instability, on top of it being January, your brain is getting all of these mixed messages of, right, go to the gym, eat clean, start the diet, no more alcohol, coffee, no sugar. But at the same time, your body and brain is not feeling safe. There's instability, insecurity, uncertainty, chaos. And so the brain wants control and it wants dopamine. This is where we start to reach for things that give us high levels of dopamine. Now, January is also another really bad time to start New Year's resolutions, especially if it is fitness related or health related, because it is really not motivating. In London right now, it's pouring rain and it's gray. It is 1:42 as I record this, and it is not. I'm like, I don't want to go outside. I know it's good for me. Fresh air is great, right? But I'm like, I want to stay inside. It's cozy. So you have to add on these different levels and layers of, we have political instability, uncertainty, chaos. Your brain then reaches for dopamine, starting a new health routine. When you don't have sunshine, your gut produces 95% of the serotonin in your body. But if we don't have sunshine and vitamin D, it's really hard to reproduce this serotonin. And if you don't have serotonin, you're not feeling the peace chemical. So if you're not feeling that in oxytocin, which is the connection chemical, which is what we had a lot of during the holidays, your brain is naturally going to reach for dopamine. And dopamine comes in the highest forms of gaming, of porn, of watching TV, of binge scrolling, of binge eating food and drink, right? So I share all of that and the science to let you know there is nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. If you think that you have an addiction, now I'm not a doctor, I'm not diagnosing, but I'm just saying that all of this can be tied back to the addiction comes from the brain wanting to feel good, dopamine. And we're in a place right now of January 2026, so things feel a hell of a lot more intense. And I hope this is just making you feel a little less alone, because everyone is feeling it, just no one is talking about it. It's sort of like how all of our governments are kind of gaslighting us right now, and the political news systems are saying like, yeah, no, like things are fine. We're not in a recession. So your brain starts to doubt things and it starts to turn inwards on you. That's why I wanted to do this episode. So point number 3 here is that January removes the fun, but adds pressure. So resolutions often sound like, I need to lose weight. I need to be more disciplined. I need to get better, healthier, right? Or I should stop drinking. These are low vibration words that actually bring us lower in our mentality. So on the emotional vibration scale, need, should, have to, they are words that if I said, you are not allowed to, do not think about water right now. Whatever you do, don't think about water. You are not allowed to have a sip of water for the rest of the day. There's no water allowed. Naturally, what did you just start thinking of? Water. So when we say, I need to remove this thing, your brain is automatically going to want the thing that you're removing. That's why one of my biggest tips. So by the way, the episode following this one, I'm going to give you tips and tricks and actual things that are scientifically proven to help you set your New Year's up correctly. And we're done with all the resolutions. But for this one, it's really about understanding when you tell yourself you can't do something or I'm going to stop it, you don't. You don't. You replace it with another habit, or you might go cold turkey on something, but your brain is still needing dopamine. It's still needing these different chemicals. And so research shows that these I need to, I have to, they're essentially saying that I'm not happy. I'm not good enough within myself, or I have low self-confidence. And so therefore, like, I don't feel good about and let's be real, most people don't feel great about their bodies after the holidays. So now you have some self-criticism and you look in the mirror and you're touching yourself and you're like, oh, that cellulite wasn't there before, or that dimple, or my skin is really dull, or I just feel like shit because I'm not sleeping well. So research shows that self-criticism actually reduces follow-through, while self-compassion improves consistency. And there is so much research to back that up. When we have compassion for ourselves, that looks like kindness, you guys. Compassion. I want you to think about, how do you talk to yourself when you don't follow through on something, or when you do something that you said you weren't going to? Like, I'm not going to drink. I need to stop. I need to cut out alcohol. I need to cut out chocolate. And then you do the thing. Do you beat yourself up, or do you talk to yourself like you would a little child who maybe had a slip up, or like you would to a friend who just went through a really bad breakup, or someone who tripped and fell and broke their arm? You wouldn't be like, you're a fucking stupid dummy. How did you do that? Like, what the No, but we talk to ourselves that way. So January removes all of the fun. And on the neuroscience chemical cocktail level is that we're getting all of this dopamine and serotonin. And well, serotonin's a little lower, but we're getting a lot of dopamine, a lot. And also our stress hormones are going up during the holidays. Our cortisol, our adrenaline. And so your body is on this kind of hyper high alert, but there's more fun and there's things to look forward to and presents. So that's why you're able to maintain the holidays, even though they're super fucking stressful. Then come January, we just take away all of the fun, all of the razzle dazzle, all of the sparkle. And we add on a bunch of pressure, and that pressure looks like negative self-talk. And again, the research shows that when we do negative self-talk, that is increasing your amygdala, which when the amygdala goes off, backseat driver, saying, right? You fucked up. That releases cortisol and adrenaline in the body. And those are your stress hormones. So talking badly to yourself literally puts you into a loop of you are now putting yourself saying something, but right, you did something or didn't do something. Now you're telling yourself off. So your amygdala goes off. And I'm just trying to throw in the science because I personally find that it helps a lot. And then your stress hormones increase, which once you have higher cortisol, for example, you're unable to sleep. And I'll give you a very quick example on this. So I spent over 2 months looking for an apartment, on top of dealing with the holidays, on top of dealing with this really crazy person that I had to deal with. And if you listen to my last episode, I go into all the juicy tidbits, but it was highly, highly stressful for me. At the same time, it's the holidays. It's my favorite time. It's sparkly season. And so I'm really trying to be joy filled. And then I move. Moving is one of the top 3 most stressful things that you can do: death, divorce, moving. And so you've this whole cocktail of like, oh my God, it's a lot. And so as I've now moved and I'm dealing with the furniture and setting up bills, my body is starting to come out of that fight or flight. But then what happens is, even though I'm coming down, my brain is still kind of on edge and thinking, right, but when is the bed delivery coming? So at night, even though I'm tired, my brain is wired because I have too much cortisol, which is the stress hormone. This is why January is such a hard time for us with resolutions, because we put all this added pressure and your brain hasn't come down into a level of safety. And then your berating yourself and criticizing yourself, which that just further puts those stress chemicals in your body. So goals built from I should, or I need to, or I have to, don't last. They drain energy instead of creating it. Point number 4 is that you are trying to change everything at once. So if December was super joyful and fun and oh my God, all the cheese and the mulled wine and the champagne or the sparkling or the Prosecco or the chocolates and the cookies and the minced pies, suddenly you go into no sugar, no alcohol, gym five times a week, and I'm going to get up earlier, right? I'm going to have the perfect routine. Raise your hand if you have done that. So the science behind this is that behavior change research consistently shows that focusing on one habit at a time leads to far greater success than multiple spontaneous changes. And I'm going to make it stupid simple for you. It's actually what I tell my clients. I call it KISS. I love acronyms. KISS, K-I-S-S. Keep it stupid simple. When you go in and try to change all of these things all at once, you are literally setting yourself up for failure. Instead, keep it stupid simple. It's what I call the smiley face journal. You choose 3 things that you can do for 7 days in a row. And they need to be stupid simple so that you give yourself a smiley face if you do it and an unhappy face if you don't. So you don't want to choose something like, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week for 60 minutes each day. You and I both know you are setting yourself up for failure because you might be really tired or you might work just calls. Something happens. There's a family emergency. Instead, we want to ease into goals, starting them week by week, because then they become more of a habit. And once they are habit, they become routine, like brushing your teeth. You just do it. And so the research shows that it takes 21 days for a habit to start forming. It takes 96 days for it to actually stick, where you no longer have to think about that. So I want you just to ask yourself in January if you have gone into you might be doing dry January. Fine, great. You do that, but then come February, what happens? Every single person that I know has done dry January or sober October, and then November or February hits and it's like, yep, don't feel so good, or that self-criticism starts again. So it's focusing on one habit. Maybe you're doing dry January as the key thing. Great. So you would just write that in, and here's how we want to also reframe it from the negative. Instead of no drinking, we want to add in things that make you feel good. So add in lemon water every morning. So for example, my smiley face journal is the Love Elixir, which I believe I've shared on another podcast, but I will share more. But the Love Elixir comes from the Love Pill, and it is 1 cup of warm hot water, 1 tablespoon apple cider vinegar, pinch of Himalayan sea salt or pink salt, and quite a nice pinch of cinnamon. You mix that up. That is one of the best ways to kickstart your morning. I'll give more of the science on another episode, or just doing lemon water, right? So for me, it's doing that, doing a gratitude journal daily, and 10-minute meditation. I can do those. I'm keeping it stupid simple. That's how we build habits. That's how we then start feeling better about ourselves versus this all or nothing mentality. So your brain cannot run 10 upgrades at the same time. I want you to think about your phone. If you have a bunch of apps, it goes through 1 or 2 apps at the same time, and you have like the little kind of circly whatever updating thing. Yet our brain, we're telling ourselves to do 10 upgrades all at once. It cannot do it. It is physically, neuroscience, not possible, but you try to change everything at once. So point number 5 here is that one slip happens and it becomes, I've failed. So you miss one workout of those 5 days a week, right? Or you mess up and you eat some pasta instead of the salad, or you eat a cookie because you just had a really rough day and you just needed some sugar. Or you wake up a little bit later, like the other morning, or 2 mornings in a row, 2 nights in a row, I've gone to bed, done my red light, have the like calming, soothing love pill playlist. Then I read, I put my phone away. But as I said, my brain is tired but wired because I'm in the come down of cortisol from this really intense period of searching for the apartment. So then I find that I'm not sleeping, and then I wake up later than expected. And now I'm feeling frustrated with myself, a little groggy, and I feel like I've lost half of the morning. Now, I want you to think about your life. When that happens, what do? Do you go into berating yourself, talking shit, talking down to yourself? Do you then go into fuck it mode, right? Well, God, you know what? I had a glass of wine, so fuck it. I might as well have another one, and then diet starts again Monday, or sober January starts again Monday, dry January, right? Thinking about how do you react when you don't do the thing perfectly. So the one slip that happens, which naturally is going to occur because there's no such thing as perfection, yet you're seeking it. You didn't seek it in January and in December when it was joyful and fun, but suddenly January, you expect this perfection. So the science behind this is that this is known as abstinence violation effect. God, that even like sounds just ugly saying it. Abstinence violation effect. And it's where one lapse is interpreted in your brain, so your amygdala, as failure, which then leads people to abandon the goal entirely. This is why 80% of people by February fail. So you miss one day and your brain goes, fuck it. What's the point? So again, I want you to ask yourself, could this be true? Have you done this? Have you had a missed workout, or maybe a glass of something, or eaten the sugar or the whatever when you said you weren't going to? And when you did, what happened? Because remember, when we talk down to ourselves, we actually then increase the stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. This is why we got to be compassionate. Kindness increases serotonin, oxytocin. Here's another little scientific hack, you guys. If you're spiraling, which, hi, it's January, we all are, on top of the political, economic, financial climate that we're in, your brain is saying, I don't feel safe. Then you're shit talking to yourself. So if you're starting to spiral, here's what I want you to do. I want you to pause. Take a deep breath. And you take a breath, inhaling for 4, you hold for 4, you exhale for 6. You repeat that 4 times. And you hug yourself. You literally wrap your arms around your body, hugging yourself, and rock back and forth while doing this breathing. What that does is put your body into, or it helps bring it into the parasympathetic, taking you out of the spiral. And the spiral is where we go go into the depression, the fuck it, the life feels just, what's the point? And the spiral, it can continue going. But how we get out of it is being soft and kind to ourselves, just as we would to a friend or to a elderly parent, right? Who's maybe slipped and fallen and gone to hospital, or to your best friend who's gone through something. So it's starting to treat yourself like you do other people. Now, I think we're on 6. Number 6 is that, or the next point, is that rest is framed as laziness instead of recovery. You guys, you need to recover. And I'm not just talking about physically, I'm talking about emotionally, mentally, psychology. January routines are forced literally overnight. It's like, boom, let's go. And taking a rest is seen as failing behind. And so high pressure combined with low energy, and let's be real, it's dark outside, it's gloomy, it's rainy, it's cold. There's less bright lights. All the Christmas decorations are down. You're no longer allowed to eat the things that make you feel good, right? So low energy increases stress hormones. So high pressure And low energy or low joy increases your stress hormones, your cortisol and adrenaline. And this impairs your focus, your patience, and your emotional regulation. Now, another little fun fact that when our amygdala has kicked off and your stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline are kicking up, it actually decreases your peripheral vision by 30%. So this is honestly why everything feels more intense, because your brain is directing you to look at the thing in front of you as, this is dangerous, I need to deal with it. When in reality, no, you just need to sleep a little bit more. So my invitation to you, and this is what I told my clients in the Ultimate Transformation Program on our last call. I said, I give you the invitation to allow yourself to do something different this January. That instead of rushing and pushing and pressuring yourself, what if you allowed yourself to slow down, to rest, to hibernate, to do the things that happen naturally in nature? So bears hibernate, birds go down south to where it's warm, right? Trees, all the leaves are off. It's not like we look at, like I'm looking at the trees outside my flat right now, and it's not like I'm like, hey, tree, you got to grow your leaves right now. It's cold outside. Go, come on, I need them. I need to, but no, I see the little bulbs, whatever they're called, but they're so pretty. I'm like, wow, the tree is slowly coming back to life. So are you allowing yourself to slowly come back to life, or are you pushing and pressurizing like a water pressure? I was trying to say two words at once. Are you pressing and pushing and rushing yourself into becoming this big, beautiful tree? So what if you allowed yourself to do something different this January? What if you allowed yourself to rest and digest, which is bringing yourself into the parasympathetic? From there, that's where we actually can dream. That's where we can manifest. And this is all what I said in the 2025 episode. If your nervous system is not regulated, which it will not be, if you are forcing yourself into working out 7 days a week, 5 days a week, or like you've gone from one workout a week in December to like pushing yourself, you are not allowing the recovery. And so we need to reframe that rest is not laziness. Quite the opposite. It is the thing that is needed to help you grow. And think of your body and all of your resolutions like the spring equinox. That's honestly where, like, when spring comes, it's the spring equinox. Your body is no different. So allowing January to be a time of rest and ease and slowly getting into the groove, like using the smiley face journal. So the last point, and this is a super important one, and I don't think it's talked about enough, is that in January, well, happens in December too, but paired with December, and we have the joy and the sparkly and the family time and friends, and we're getting drunk or we're eating good food, come January, comparison explodes immediately. And I want you to be real with yourself. I want you to think about the last time that you went on to Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever it was, and you started looking at all of the different things, whatever it is, whoever you follow, of they're doing dry January, or they're suddenly in the gym, or even for me, like I'm posting workout videos, or not so much a workout, like I'm posting yoga videos. Why? Because it keeps my ass accountable, but I'm hoping that it motivates and inspires someone else. My goal is never to make you compare yourself to me, but the reality is that that's what we start to do. So there is all of these wellness experts and doctors and people in my field. And this has been something that I've personally kind of battled with for a while. I see so many people that I've known, and some of them I know personally, where they're saying, like I've been watching these posts, the ins and outs for 2026. And these posts are setting it up for such unrealistic living. Like I saw one from this doctor that I know, and oh my God, he's done a few of them where it's like the ins are red light therapy, 9 p.m. bedtimes, and someone else actually posted a similar thing. Yeah, like red light therapy, 9 p.m., no drinking, bone broth, this, like da 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 da. And the outs were like everything that personally brings me joy. And I was like, I would not want to hang out with you in January. Or if that's your mentality, like you do you. But what happens is that people are doing the supplement stacks and you're probably getting advertised all of the things, the biohacks, the longevity, the, oh my God, you like I am in the wellness field and I'm fucking overwhelmed from all of it in January. Like, and I know how to sift through the information. So just because someone is posting discipline or their routine or all the things that they're doing or not doing, it doesn't mean that they actually feel good internally. And here's the truth that I want this to land. Typically, the bigger the change someone is making, the worse they feel about themselves or their life. Let that land. The bigger the change that someone is making in January, such as all of the biohacks, all the supplements, the dry January, the removing all of the things that bring joy, typically they are battling more inner self-critic and they're wanting change to feel good. So please, my loves, stop comparing yourself to people who are posting all of the things. They're doing it, just as I said, maybe to keep themselves accountable, but we got to stop the comparison. And I'll be totally honest, over the last few days, I was like, my Instagram was kind of popping off with all the fashion from the Golden Globes. And every single celebrity on the red carpet, they look like they've had a facelift, so much Botox, and what's like, there's like sculpture and this and that and the lasers and the da 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 da. And it made me feel bad about myself because I thought, wow, I haven't had Botox in a while and I haven't had filler in a while and I haven't had a laser, and God, I should go do all those things. I want my skin to look, God, now I'm starting to think my skin doesn't look like that. Well, fuck, I'm never going to even like be there. So why does it matter? And do you see how quickly that we can spiral? And all I was doing was looking at the fashion. So we naturally go into more comparison in January. And this is because we're removing a lot of the things that bring us joy that we had in the last few months. We don't have as much sunlight, so it's not like we can go out and just get that natural dopamine, serotonin boost. We're sitting on inside and we are scrolling our phones and we are watching Netflix and it's not as thrilling and joyful as time, let's be honest. And so what happens is we start to compare and we think that our life needs to look like someone else. I don't share so much of my life, like all the supplements I take or I don't take, or the food that I'm eating or not. I try to share what I can, but I don't want people comparing their life to me because my level and standard of living is super high. Like I enjoy eating clean and eating healthy and drinking and this and that. I am not doing dry January. I have eaten pasta multiple times in January, home cooked, but I feel better than I have, even though I'm dealing with stress. So this is why we want to be careful about what we're looking at and consuming online. So just as you might be doing a detox, and by the way, I'm going to link it if you want a detox to do and you want to feel good. Do my 5-day real food detox. It is the best selling, best results one on the market. And it's not about restriction. It's 5 meals a day for 5 days. Women can lose up to 10 pounds, men 12 pounds. And the amazing thing is that it helps reset your serotonin. It boosts natural dopamine. You start to feel better. You sleep better. I am personally going to be doing it really soon, just as I kind of get more settled and I'm waiting for furniture and all of that. But I'm going to link that below. So I want you to think about, just as you do a detox or you cut a food or something like alcohol or sugar out of your life, I want you to think about who could you detox from your social networks? Who's causing you stress mentally? Or when you go online, are you comparing yourself to people? Take a little bit of a detox from that person or that account or even social media. So the real thing to think about that is, in that last point, is that what happens in January is that let's be honest, it's not just January, but we do this all year round. It just happens even more in January. We start comparing someone else's highlight reel to your own life. And I will be the first person to say that what I post online is curated. I do not post my day-to-day. I live the same 24 hours in a day that you do. If you had seen me trying to set up this podcast, it was like moving things in this, and the ring light didn't work, and I had to move it, and it was super stressful, and I almost didn't record this podcast. But you get the more polished version from it. So this is the key thing. Stop, and I don't want to say stop, but try not to compare yourself to someone else's highlight reel, because the reality is you don't know what it took for them to get there, and you don't know what they're doing it for. So here's what I want you to take away after all of this from this episode, is that if your New Year's resolutions already feel heavy, or they feel forced, or you feel like you failed, this is not a personal flaw. This is what happens to almost every single person, just nobody is speaking up and talking about it. We keep these things internalized, and you are not a failure. Let me remind you of this. You are not a failure. The science shows 92% of people never actually make it through their resolution. So what if, and I kind of prompted you this before, what if you allowed this January to be different? What if you allowed yourself to kind of thaw like nature? What if you recognize that this is societal and internalized pressure, and it is not a failure within you? It is that we really need to reshift the way that we think about January 1st, especially when we are in the political, economical, financial climate that we are. More pressure does not equal better results. Just fact. So January is not when more people need more discipline. It's when you need rest. It's when you need recalibration. And so in the next episode, and I had to do this, you guys, in the next episode, I'm going to share a completely different way of setting goals that actually works. And these are not goals built on pressure or guilt from January. They are goals that fit your energy, your season of life, and the reality of how we actually make and maintain change. So we're going to talk about how to set goals that don't fail by February, say that fast 5 times, and how to actually build momentum so that you feel good about yourself and proud. So this episode was all about helping you recognize you are not a failure, that everyone is pretty much feeling like they've done something wrong when you haven't. And I just wanted to throw in a bit more of the psychology and the neuroscience to show you that you're doing just fine. And it's a strange time that we live in, and we got to chill out with this added pressure, be a little kinder, because remember, compassion helps lead to more oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin, the feel-good chemicals, the happy chemicals in the brain, whereas self-judgment and doubt, and really when you talk shit to yourself, it produces more of the stress hormones, which then just keeps you into that spiral and makes you gain weight, stay inflamed, sleep less, your skin feels dull. So what if you were a little kinder, more compassionate, softer, slower this January? So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please drop me a note on Spotify. You can comment. I would love to hear what you thought. If you haven't left a review on Apple Podcasts, please do so. Your support means the world, and it helps me grow the show. And if you resonated with this episode, please share it on social media and tag me, because I love seeing the notes that you take or what you learn from it. Send it to a friend or someone that you just think could could really benefit from it. But thank you for being a part of the community. And until next time, here's to a sharper life.